As I've gotten older in life, I find myself looking back more and more. I constantly think about how life used to be. The things I used to do, the places I used to go, the people I used to see. Every single time I come to the same conclusion. Things were always better back then. When I was a kid, I had a constant sense of wonder and excitement about things, whereas nowadays everything always seems to come up short. The biggest place I've seen this is in the games I play. As a kid, every game I could get my hands on was the best thing ever. Whether it was a AAA game or some random one that I picked up in the reduced section of a game store. Game companies now pour millions into their games, and it feels like 9 times out of 10 when a game's finally released, it's either terrible or gets boring within a couple months. Years ago I could play the same games over and over for hours on end and never get fed up. And even if I did, there was always something else I could pick up and play. Compared to now, where I play the same 3 games in a rotation every night and don't even really enjoy myself. I just do it to simply kill time. It's the same with content creators nowadays. All the YouTubers I used to watch have all retired, moved on to other things, or simply aren't the same anymore. These people who I used to watch daily for hours and hours, people who used to bring me so much joy and entertainment, they're just gone. Another thing I've lost is my general passion for things. My passion for gaming, my passion for content creation, my love for certain shows and anime. I used to play so many different sports which I now don't have the energy for. Old childhood holiday destinations now feel boring and empty. So now I'm older, I'm stuck wondering what I'm actually passionate about. Wondering what actually makes me feel genuine happiness, and what I want to do with my life. At times I try and claw back parts of my childhood by playing games I used to play, but it never feels the same. The empty servers, the lack of friends who you used to play with, it all just feels bland. And that's the feeling I get from life as a whole these days. Bland. The older I get, the more complicated things become. Jobs, responsibilities, relationships, people. It all just exerts so much effort. And that's because I'm constantly searching for another golden era in my life. I'm constantly searching to fill the childhood-sized hole in me that disappeared a long, long time ago. I never felt this tired as a kid because I didn't have to search for the happiness. It was all right in front of me. But then time gets in the way, and against your own will you're dragged away from everything that made you happy, and all you're left with is a shell of what your life was. And the worst part about it all is, you can never go back. Ever. All those things that made my life so great have just faded into nothing. They now only exist as memories. There was a moment not too long ago when I happened to run into someone from my childhood. It was my first ever friend. It was the guy that I considered my best friend for the longest time, but I moved away and we gradually just drifted apart, until suddenly it had been years since we'd actually seen each other. We instantly recognised each other and hugged. We had a brief chat about how long it had been, and how we should meet up soon. After we parted ways, I was overcome with a mix of joy and sadness. I felt as though my inner child was finally smiling, as he had seen his best friend after all those years. I grieve my own childhood because the kid I was has died. He was murdered by time itself. When I think about it, I get a knot in my chest, and it makes me want to sob at the top of my lungs because it just simply isn't fair. Instead now, I have to try and do something with this empty shell of an existence and fill it with new things. But it's all a cycle. You sometimes find yourself back in a golden era of your life that you didn't realise was a golden era until it's already faded away again. And sometimes you do realise it, so you try your hardest to hold on to it for as long as you can. But as usual, it all falls apart, and once again you find yourself back in the same exact position, looking back, wishing you were younger and in a different place. I constantly ask myself, What's changed? How can everything go from being so great and fulfilling to so tasteless? And the harsh reality is, I've grown up. I'm a lot smarter, a lot more conscious nowadays, meaning I can see the world for what it truly is. I have to experience hardships, loss, failure, grief, all without the shield of being a child and not fully understanding it. The older you get, the more you feel, because you can take a step back and analyse a situation, analyse your own feelings and emotions, and you can also see how bad things really are. However, there is a flip side to this, because you can also see how good things really are. And when that happens, you're a lot less likely to take it all for granted, meaning you won't feel as empty or regretful when it's over. You can just be happy that it happened. Having this outlook and this constant yearning for what once was is such an unhealthy mindset to have. Nostalgia is fantastic as it can bring out a lot of joy in you when you reminisce about the good old days. But constantly comparing your life to the past means you're never living in the moment or looking to the future. Instead, you're in a constant battle against time to try and stop it from moving, when it simply never will. Nostalgia is one of my favourite emotions to have, but I'm consistently haunted by how good my life used to be. Nostalgia is slowly killing me. I can't go back, and there's nothing I can do. Growing up sucks. It really does. I wish I never took my childhood for granted, but at the time, I did. My life as a kid means so much to me because the happiness was real and pure. I wish I never complained about having to go to school. I wish I never complained about the people around me. I suppose it's taught me a lesson to not take a single thing for granted. Because one day, it's all going to be gone. And I'm going to look back on those times fondly, wishing I was back there. I hope that one day I'll find myself back in a golden era when I have my own children. But that's not guaranteed, as nothing is. So there's no real point in me spending my life trying to piece together something that feels like my childhood. Instead, we should all be living in the moment. Instead of regretting the past and dreading the future, we should be excited about what's coming. Because literally anything could come our way. And what's more fun than that? I hope some of you can come away from this video maybe feeling a bit better about the present and more excited for the future. If you enjoy content like this, please consider subscribing. But until next time, bye for now.